Hello and welcome to another card in my Christmas 2019 series. This card is going to be a shaker card. I don't think I made a shaker card last series, but I usually do. This one's going to be using the same set as I made a card last year, but I'm going to just use one part out of it and do a slightly different Christmas bauble card. I'm going to be using this Impression Obsession die set called Christmas Circle Cutouts, but I'm only just going to be using the one snowflake one this time. I'm using a memory box snowflake die just to use the bow from it. Now, the memory box have quite a few different ones of these that have bows, so if you've got one, just use that. And I'm going to use these nail art foil strips to do the hangers, but you could use gold thread or cord or anything that you might have, or even just a strip of foil card. I just happen to have these from years ago when I used to do quite a bit of nail art, so I'm just going to use them up. They're very fine strips. I'm going to start by cutting out each of the baubles, or where the baubles are going to be. So I'll just use the one snowflake die and cut that out 3 times in a sort of triangular arrangement on the card. Once all the baubles are cut, I'm going to put some plastic in behind the baubles, and this is going to keep the shaker pieces in. This is just packaging plastic, but you could use acetate if that's all you had. So I cut some squares out of the strip of plastic that are just a bit bigger than the circles that I've cut out. And I'm going to put some double-sided tape right round each of the circles. But before I stick the plastic down, I'm just going to get some craft foam ready, and I'll draw through the circles where I need the holes to be cut out and cut that out of the craft foam. And then I'll go back to sticking the plastic down onto the double-sided tape that I've put around each of the circles. I'll then go back to my craft foam and cut the circles out using a craft knife very carefully. What I find is the easiest to do when I'm cutting a circle is that I move the craft foam around and just move the knife a little bit and just go around in like little steps, and that way you're not cutting too far further than you want to, or making any mistakes, so it's just little steps all the way around. So now it's a matter of just going around the circle again over the plastic to be able to stick the foam tape, the craft foam on top of that, and then again on the top of that so that it's ready to stick on my card base. The thing with shaker cards is you've got to make sure that all little areas are sealed with the tape so that none of your shaker bits can get out. So you've got to be quite thorough with where you're putting your tape crossing over itself, just so you're making sure every little part is sealed. Now that I've got the craft foam stuck down onto my front panel with the cutouts, and I've got double-sided tape all the way around the circles that are going to be the shaker part with the double-sided tape, I can go ahead and get some other bits and pieces ready. So I'm going to cut out my bows that are going to be on each of the ties of the baubles. So I'm just going to cut 3 out. I've cut 2 already, so I'll just cut the 3rd one out of some gold foil card and cut the little tail off that I don't require for this and pop them aside. If you didn't have one of these bow dies, you could just tie little bows with gold thread or gold cord or whatever you might have, ribbon. You definitely don't have to do it this way. I'm just choosing to do it this way. Now this is where I find shaker cards get a bit tricky, and because I've got a card panel that's slightly smaller than my card base, I won't be able to do the method that some people do where they fill up the reservoir with the shaker pieces and then put the card base on top of that and stick it down, because I won't be able to see where I'm centering it. And the other method is to put your shaker bits onto your card base and then lay your front panel over it, but it's going to be really hard to get them in the right place with these small baubles. So the method I find is the easiest is to put the shaker bits into the back of your front panel, and then stick some paper over it, or if you're not going to put a pattern paper behind it, just more of the same as what your card base is, just to seal them off before you flip it over. So I've got some pretty little Christmas paper here that's got little red stars on it, and I've just cut out pieces just slightly bigger than my circle, and then I'm going to put double-sided tape all the way around the outside of that and stick that down after I've put my shaker bits in. So I've got some red glitter and I've got some red sequins, so I'm just going to put a bit of each of those into the holes, and then I can stick my paper over that and seal it. I'll then put some double-sided tape over the back of the paper that I've just covered the shaker parts with, and then I'll be able to peel that off and flip that over and put that onto my card base. And then it's just a matter of putting the balls up, doing the strips of the foil and putting the bows on. However, before I do the foil strips and the bows, I'm just going to do a sentiment in the top right hand corner. I'm going to use a partial part of a stamp, a Kaisercraft stamp that I've got here, and I'm just going to do the Merry Christmas part at the bottom. So I'm going to just mask off the top part while I do the inking, and then I'll be able to peel that off and do the stamping on the card using the MISTI. So now I'll just use the thin strips of the foil from the nail art that I've had for oh so long, and I'll just put some strips from each of the baubles going up to the top of the card panel. Where the sentiment is, I'll just stop just before the sentiment and then start up just above the sentiment, so it breaks a bit in the middle. What I should have really done is done the strip and then put a sentiment onto a piece of card and mounted that on top of it, but I didn't think about that. So this will work just fine. And then once that I'm happy with those and I've burnished them down so that they don't lift off, I will glue the little bows on top, and that's pretty much the card finished. Thank you for joining me today. I hope the card gave you some inspiration. With cards to do for Christmas this year. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.